Edge goes live. If they do today, I don't know because there's so much shit going down. And I've addressed the rumors, I've deleted the videos, but I'm gonna leave this one up. Just got done talking to one of to somebody I know on a Facebook page who's a fan of Doomcox, and I'm gonna say this. He tried to explain to somebody who is a moron that you have to read between the lines. That there's shit going down. You know, you've got the Forbes article. First off, you got the backlash against Kennedy after the Gina kerfuffle. Oh, thanks. Thank you. That means a lot. You know, first off, you've got to look at the backlash after the Gina Carano kerfuffle. You know, you have Kennedy and any mention of Star Wars, Lucasfilm, being ratioed into the ground, and the backlash is still continuing, by the way. And it's bad. The High Republic is a joke. It's a failure. Pablo Hidalgo is put out a very interesting tweet when he was confronted with, "Are you leaving?" when she leaves. All right, Mark. Thank you. You've got the Forbes article, which was about Lucasfilm. You've got the Variety article, which was about Lucasfilm. You've got Dave Filoni's new job announcement. Now, if you actually believe that that was just a site glitch and that they hadn't updated the site since last summer, you're a fucking moron. I can't even, just whatever. Here's the reason why. When Carrie Hart left, we noticed that right away because she was off that leadership, wasn't she? She was fired. They let her go. You know, Dave Filoni was a low level, on the down low announcement. So we've got certain people within the fandom and certain members of bigger sites, bigger site owners that I suspect don't want to see anything good happen. They don't want to see Star Wars fixed. They sit there and say, "I don't think they can fix it. George Lucas ain't coming back." There's a reason why I don't go to their sites anymore. And the reason simply is this. Negativity, in the end, gets old and dull. And it doesn't fix anything. But then, as Michael Caine, as Alfred in the Dark Knight said, some men want to see the world burn. Case in point, Friday night. Okay? Now, I am not going after anybody but one, and you all know who I'm talking about. The guy has no filter. He has no clarity of thought. He just, whatever's in his mouth comes out. He's not professional, except he screams about everything all the time. He's an outrage monger. Hey, Jeremy. And there comes a time, as somebody who cares about what we're doing, hey, Vader, as somebody who wants to see the good, has to say enough is enough. Now, when you've got someone who's in the business, like Cameron Pasha, all right, that's good. Like Cameron Pasha, who goes up there and says, just by what was said in those articles is enough to tell everybody in Hollywood that this is happening. If he says it, first off, the guy has an MBA from Dartmouth. All right. He is a lawyer beyond being a screenwriter. Okay. I'm sorry, but that's a little more impressive to me, along with being intelligent. which a big education doesn't make somebody intelligent. But when it's combined with both, that's impressive, okay? I don't have an MBA. I've got a bachelor's degree, which is nowadays meaningless, okay? But when you've got somebody like that saying, all signs point to something happening at Lucasfilm, they're not going to name her. They're not going to say, we are telling her she's done. As Doomcock said, we're not going to see her frog marched out the door. She's going to get a float. She's going to get a parade down Main Street, USA. She's going to get Lifetime Achievement Awards. But here's the deal. They pushed up Indy 5 a month or two. Why? Because her contract is up at the end of October. Then we've got this Pablo Hidalgo tweet. After 20 years, I have no plans and I don't know what hers are. That's almost verbatim what he said. Okay? And if you were on that strain that I put out there, yeah, you're right, Mad. I mean, when I put out there we need to, you know, it's time for people to ask this question. Do you want to see this work out? Do you want to be able to go to the movies again and see Skywalker and Solo and Leia and all the rest of this shit in their glory? Do you want to see them kicking ass and taking names? Or do you just want to sit around with your head up your ass, crying, all right? We have our own Pablo Hidalgo problem. And we all know who I'm talking about. First off, he wouldn't work for me. But if he did, I'd say, first off, you don't attack a YouTuber of that size. All right. Second of all, you don't attack the fans. He has done both. And he is being defended. I don't care if you don't believe the rumors. Because first off, your anger is blinding you. Palpatine said that. No, Yoda said your hatred blinds you. Palpatine said your anger, your whatever, okay? Unless Yoda, your anger blinds you. Oh yeah, I know, Mad. I know. And these people, first off, we're talking about people who want to see the world burn. If I can't have it, no one can. And they're being allowed to run free. They don't have any filter. They don't have any control over them. You know, there isn't a point where someone says, what you do in my name reflects upon me. I mean, I would think that would be something that someone would say somewhere. Okay? This is me doing this on my own. I have disclaiming anybody I'm contacted with, connected with, and officially in any way, shape, or form. This is me. But this shit has to end. Okay? Now, if you had just gone after Doomcock, that's one thing. But when you go after me, when you impugn the integrity of people I respect, like Andre, like Tom, who I know is wavering, who, like Cameron, hey, Wookiee Lives Matters, then you piss me off. You impugn my integrity. Unlike a lot of people, I don't do this for the money. Okay? I do this because I want to see shit fixed. Okay? I am a problem solver. Okay? I am not a problem creator. And right now we've got our own little problem creator. Drama King. It has to stop. It has to stop. And I know it won't. No, they're not going to listen to me. Here's the deal. I've had my run-ins enough with several of these people that I know they hate my guts. They think I'm stupid. They've gone after a friend of mine who at one point through all this stuff actually had a brain tumor. Okay. Okay. If you want things to work, then why are you doing everything to hurt people who are, I thought we were all supposed to be on the same team. Oh, unless you don't have the connections, because the people that talk, there's a reason why he doesn't show his face and we don't know his identity. You think maybe there's a reason? That's smart. You don't have the connections. You don't have the reach. And you're not getting bombarded by, hey, John, you're not getting bombarded by pro-Kennedy people. And he's over the target. Okay, I just got a troll here the other day. They always show up when something major is about to happen. Okay, it's just like the rain that's coming today. All right. So what do we got? What do we got here? What have we learned? First off, one of my secret squirrels discovered that an account we think is a Pablo troll account is mocking all of us right now because of this infighting. I didn't start it. Doomcock did nothing wrong. He did nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. This is a rumor. Take it with a grain of salt. Andre says it. I say it. But somehow these people can't understand what that means. Again, you can't, I'm going to say this to the people that actually tried to explain why they believe it might be true. You can't explain to people who are irrational. Again, there are people out there that want to see the world burn. Okay? They don't give a shit. Okay? We're talking about people who don't necessarily care about the franchise. They don't care about Star Wars. They don't care about any of that. They care about making money. Okay? That's fine. But be honest. Hey, Tom. But be fucking honest about it. Okay? I mean, that's all you gotta do is be honest. I don't care. I want to make money. All right? Now, we've got a public kerfuffle going on. Now, granted, people do have a point. Doomcock probably shouldn't have gone public. But what happened was egregious. It was unprofessional. You know, want to be sitting around a bar in private. Good morning, John 42. Sitting around in private, you know, drinking beer, wine, you know, martinis, whiskeys, bourbon, whatever you drink, and bullshit with each other like that, that's fine. But when you are a big YouTuber and you get a bunch of people and you get somebody who's out of control, who doesn't have a filter in it, and you let him do this stuff, I gotta ask, what the fuck? Okay? Because let me tell you this, if that had been my stream and he started that shit, I would have booted him. All right? You do not badmouth fellow YouTubers. That is it. That is, if I ever had a big channel where I had people working for me, that'd be rule number one. Also, from one of my old bosses in DC, he put out this thing. It was a list of things you do as a leader. Personnel is policy. Who you see out there is who the public sees. Think about that. Okay? Do you want them to see professional people who report the news or give their opinion or whatever? Or do you just want to see, do you want them to see a screeching, angry fanboy who just wants to see the world burn? I hope he sees this, by the way. I am ashamed of him. You know, as, you know, as upset I know that Doomcock is, and he has every right to be upset. Again, probably shouldn't have gone public with this, but now it's out there, and yet people have to understand. It's not about him, it's about us, okay? It's about Cameron. Yeah, Troy, I'm saying that right now. You just interrupted me. It's about Cameron. It's about Andre. It's about Tom. He was sitting there. It's about anybody who is at least even thinking that this shit is going on. Okay? Why? Because there are people out there who know, even when Kennedy goes, if Favreau and maybe even George Lucas, and I'll get into that little tidbit in a minute, would come in, they're not going to get their EU. And they're so upset by what happened to Luke, not giving a shit about any other character, all right, that they would rather burn down the whole fucking thing. If I can't have it, no one can. Is that the way we do things now? Is that the way an adult behaves? No, it's not. Okay? Again, I'm not here making money on this. I'm here to do a job. Maybe it was the job I was meant for. I don't know. But we are in a cultural war, and it doesn't help that when one of our best proponents out there gets stabbed in the back. And I'll tell you something else. The guy that went off, when Zack Snyder said what he said, that guy never said a word. And don't blame you know who for that. No one said a fucking word. But they're fine with this. With the stabbing someone in the back. That is bullshit, chicken shit, cowardice. Okay? To say to somebody, you come to them in private and you say it. Okay? You say it. You don't sit there and, I don't know, maybe he was drunk or something, I don't know, and spew bullshit and attack people you don't even know. All right? So let's go again. These are people who don't understand what the Forbes article by Del Vecchio meant. This was a month after Gina got canned or let go or whatever, you separated or told that she wasn't needed. The Kennedy ratio started. We had, I think, one of the first Disney investor call. Then we had, all right, the Forbes article, which basically called out Chapek. And Cameron actually thinks that was Bob Chapek himself who planted it. The guy who wrote it, this guy named Del Vecchio, he was on Twitter and he left. He dropped that article and went poof, gone. You know? Wow. Think about that. Then we go, you know, we watch the High Republic burn and we get the Variety article. We get the second investor call and then we get the Variety article. Don't answer him. He can figure it out for himself. The Variety article was basically explaining to Hollywood what was going on with Lucasfilm. You have to be smart about this. Yeah, well, you know, you'd have to be smart about this. They're not going to say her name out loud. But when you go down that article, the Variety article, and you see Alan Horn is leaving when Iger leaves, that's code for Kennedy is done too. Okay? Then we've got Filoni's promotion. Then we've got Iger dumping $100 million of Disney stock, which may or may not be connected. It probably is. All right. So you're talking about a company, and I'm talking about Lucasfilm, bought for $4.3 billion. When you look at the investment that Disney put into Lucasfilm, buying it, funding the movies, funding the parks, Galaxy's Edge in Anaheim and in Orlando, you're suddenly realizing, much to your chagrin, that they just put it $7 billion. And all they've got for it net is about $2 billion. If they would have put that $4.3 billion in the bank in 2012, they'd have $10 billion in the bank, or 12 billion, all right? Which they certainly could use right now, okay? Let's talk about Disney's finances. They are about $100 billion or more in debt. They have borrowed money from the government, including the government of Canada at 11 billion, probably to inflate quietly to inflate their shares. All right, but they have to do that so nobody takes them over. Okay, there's, again, hey Valiant, how you doing? Again, Valiant Renegade's one of the coolest guys on the planet, and he and I might be tag teaming each other on a big channel. But we'll be quiet about that. Soon. Anyway, the reason why I'm not saying their names out loud is because I don't trust anybody except for my regulars on my chat, and I've never seen you before in my life, Planet Musk. All right. All right, where were we? So the stocks are inflated. They're not getting any revenue from the parks. They're not getting any revenue from their cruise lines because they haven't started them up yet. You see where I'm going here? Do you see? Disney's up shit creek. Now, again, I've said this before, I'll say this again. They are not going to go bankrupt like I think people want to see. And I don't want to see that. First off, it would hurt Florida immeasurably and California. All right. Secondly, it's an American brand. And I like to see us, because I'm a patriotic person, and what's good for the country is good for all of us. I want to see them succeed. All right. I want them to be better. Okay. Just like I want to see Lucasfilm be better. Okay. I don't want to see Star Wars destroyed because I didn't get what I wanted. I want to see it be better. And it can be. Okay. It can be. But things have to change. Now, let's talk a little bit about Bob Chapek. He is an accountant. He's a money guy. He's a numbers guy. He walks in to a shitstorm. Okay, you got Iger, chairman of the board, but all he's doing is working on Lucasfilm right now because it's such a fucking disaster area. Okay, Kennedy walked in. When she goes, we're going to see a meme of her standing around burning buildings and saying, "My work here is done." That's what we're going to get. They know what's wrong, and they've known, I think, for quite, they know what's been going on for quite a long time. They've known, I think Iger started getting a clue when Kennedy started getting in arguments with Gareth Edwards, and then fired him from Rogue One. And I'm pretty sure when she fired Lord and Miller after never seeing a daily at all, after completely ignoring the advice of other people and hiring Alden, I am a little hobbit, Doomcock, Ehrenreich, sorry, Doomcock, oh my God, I didn't mean that. It became obvious. We'll talk. All right. When this is over, I'm gonna put my email into the comments here. Now, if you're a troll and you email me and you don't have a Proton email address, I have friends who can find you. So I will be able to figure out who you are. So don't do it. Okay. I do have a Proton email address, but No one else but Doomcock has it. Okay, I don't give it out at all. Anyway, you know, the woman didn't watch any of the dailies. They didn't. She didn't watch any of the dailies. She didn't hire a director that could do anything. And of course, it was nepotism. John Kasdan, the writer, Alden Ehrenyuk, Spielberg's accountant's son, and Destry's friend, that was a clue to get rid of her then. They couldn't. They couldn't. Now, I was on a debate stream about this in 2018. And I have a very good friend, Mazurus, if he was here, it's Craig from Reviews for You, who, I gotta tell you, when I figured out where he was getting his info from, I nearly shit my pants. Okay. All right. He ended up being right about everything. Hey, Maze, they treated us like shit. Wouldn't let me talk. And when it was over, Craig was getting mocked. The funny thing about that is that Craig was in the hospital at the time. He didn't tell anybody. He had a brain tumor. All right. Now, as I haven't heard from him in a while because he's had some really other personal things going on that stemmed from his hospital bills. I mean, he had to go to Duke University for a lot of this. And I just sit back and I'm like, okay, you know, I can't do this anymore. You know, you're going to treat people like that and then mock them after they're gone behind their backs. That's Harry High School bullshit. Okay. And I don't want to tolerate that anymore. And I won't tolerate that anymore. You know, oh, it did? Well, I'm still here. Okay. Okay. So, you know, I lost my respect for people at that point, and now it's happening again. Okay, so we've got Kennedy, and she should have been gone. All right, she should have been gone then in 2018, and she wasn't. But Chuck Wendig got kicked out, or he got kicked out in 2018. Yeah. And Carrie Hart disappeared. Okay. Those are pretty big SJWs. So there we did have some wins. Then The Mandalorian shows up. And Jon Favreau shows Kathleen Kennedy, this is how you do Star Wars. You give the people what they want. They want that narrative view. They want that hero. They want the hero's journey. They want that feeling of Star Wars. And that's what The Mandalorian gave us. Because Jon Favreau is one of us. Okay? And, you know, there are people out there that don't like it. And the reason why is they've decided anything that Disney does is bad. And yeah, it was. I mean, Chucky Boy got everything he deserved on steroids. He did. So anyway, we saw a lot of shit happen. And we've seen a slow shift towards something better, culminating right now with the return of Luke Skywalker as, gee, Luke Skywalker. My God. You know? And yet, we still have this shit going on. No. I'm just gonna say, I said my piece on my live stream, and I know where I stand. And there are people out there that have really shown their true colors. Here's the deal. You can have a disagreement with somebody and not be an asshole about it. Not be an immature little bitch. Okay? Gee, Pedro Pascal and Gina Carano are friends. Complete opposite sides. They're friends. How does that happen? Why? They're grown-ups. Okay? And we got a bunch of people in the fandom menace who can't behave like rational adults. Okay? I mean, who don't respect anybody unless that person kisses their ass. Unless that person, tells them how great they are 24/7. I'm sorry, I don't do that. Okay? I mean, this is pathetic. And it's unprofessional. Again, why was it allowed to happen in the first place? Why was that even brought up? And I know it was a super chat that started it. But first off, the super chat should have been pitched. Well, I don't think they feel like that. I ran into some pathetic, overweight, morbidly obese, bearded douchebag yesterday who was saying, blah, blah, blah is his only friend, and then wouldn't talk about who it was. And I assume he was talking about Ryan Cannell. It's like the only friend Ryan Cannell has is Ryan Cannell. Okay, that's, hey, Demanjanai, how you doing? And that's the bottom line. All right. We're being laughed at. I sent Mazarus the screenshot of, hey, Daryl, of we think an account that we think is a Pablo troll account. Here's the deal. There are people that are millennials that might be on our side, but they're millennials. So we're dealing with somebody who's not well educated, who has no filter, who has never been told, no, you don't get a parade and celebration every day of your life because you exist. Okay? That don't get it. You can't tell somebody like that, read between the lines of something. They don't understand what subtext is because their teachers didn't know what subtext was. Okay? They couldn't think in that critical, the critical thinking that you have to develop. You're not born with it. That you learn in school, and I learned it at a Catholic school. All right. Yeah, well, he's, of course, it's literally one of those things where people got to decide what they want. They have to decide enough is enough. And I have. Okay, I really have. I can't, and I haven't for a long time. I remember it was last October, a year ago October, when I started looking at Disney's financials and talking to people and going, there's something weird. And then there's the rumor. There was the story. In fact, it was a newspaper story that Iger basically said we're restructuring Disney. Okay, this stuff has started 2 years ago, right? Because I think they realized there was too much. It was too clunky. It was a waste of money, a lot of it, and they had to fix it. And then Lucasfilm is a. You ever see the Money Pit? It's a money pit. No good has come out of it. None. Even Rogue One, which was decent. Mandalorian is the only thing that's keeping it on the company on life support. Okay? No one wants the High Republic. And what I find fascinating is the people naysaying the rumors and ignoring what's out there in the public say, well, the High Republic is a failure. I'm going to ask anybody who might wander in here, do you think that Bob Iger and Bob Chapek have a giant money orchard out behind some building in Anaheim and in Orlando that's has nothing but $1,000 bills in the trees? Do you honestly understand how money is made? Disney doesn't have a printing press. They can't just go, we'll just throw another 300 million at that movie even though we know it's going to bomb. Okay? Especially since the COVID shit hit. Okay? They can't do that. But somehow there are people out there that think yeah, you're right, Maze. There are other people out there that think you're an idiot. Okay? Because in this case, pragmatism speaks volumes. Money is everything. Go back and watch Midnight's Edge, the last video they had up about China. Oh, it hasn't bloomed this year. I mean, when you look at the money that's been picked out of Disney's pocket, out of Hollywood's pockets by the Chinese, it's staggering. It's staggering. Okay? It is not, in my opinion, something to ignore. And yet, here we are. Because people out there, oh, you're right, Bill. People out there don't know how money's made. They really, really don't. I don't expect somebody who's 25, 30 years old who didn't take an economics class, and if they did, it was Keynesian economics, to understand. All right. Economics is this. The market will move. Your paycheck depends on what the market will bear. Okay? If there's no demand for a product, it's going to sit on the shelf and rot. High Republic, the Disney sequel trilogy, Ray, merchandise, rotting on the shelves. Okay? It's going to sit on the shelf and rot. If there is a demand, Cara Dune action figures, Mandalorian, Baby Yoda, OT action figures, OT vehicles, prequel action figures, they go. I just ordered my Battle of Endor Lando. Yeah, you're right, Valiant. And, again, but my thing is, you can't explain it to people. You can't, because, I when I started looking at the financial stuff, I wasn't cynical. I was pissed. I was frustrated. It's okay, Valiant. I was frustrated as hell. I was mad. I'm like, this shit has to end. This is bullshit. Okay? And it opened up my eyes. It was like, this is going to change, because the people at Disney, the money guys, are going to go, what the fuck? And they have. Okay. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's like you're in the USS Ronald Reagan, one of our finest aircraft carriers. You're going straight at a huge iceberg. And you've got enough time to slow it down to stop it, but it takes a long time to slow that great big, 5-acre plus ship with that big deck to slow down to turn it. Oh, General Katarn, hey, yeah. One of my guys. And people have to understand that. And, then you have people saying, well, if Kennedy leaves, nothing changes. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. And the reason is this. The person who allowed the garbage to happen is gone. And whoever comes in has probably been told you either you need to clean house. Now, it's my personal opinion that the house is already being cleaned. That tweet from Pablo was loaded. After 20 years, I don't have any, and I don't know what her plans are. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said. Think about what that means. All right? Think about it. Okay. That has to change, or we won't have Star Wars at all. Yeah, you're right, Maze. You're right. I mean, it was like if someone on acid and Quaaludes decided to write a Star Wars sequel trilogy, and that's what we got. Okay. And they failed. Ron, I think he is leaving. I mean, when I saw that tweet and then the subsequent freak out by two troll accounts, one of which had no followers and and didn't follow anybody, I was like, "Hi Pablo, how you doing?" You know. And then the tweeter said, "Hey, Pablo, you could probably come back as yourself and answer me." I'm paraphrasing that too, but that's what he said. Very telling. Okay. I don't need it. Oh, I know. I mean, well, he wasn't, I mean, he was being nice on one and being civil. But when we got to when those two troll accounts, when we're done here, General Katarn, if I remember, I will send you the screenshots of both. And then you can go and, follow up yourself if you want to look. Then we get these two troll accounts. And now one of them is mocking Doomcock, is mocking Jeremy, is mocking everybody because of this shit. Okay. This is what happens when you have somebody with a flapping mouth, with no filter, no professional ethics at all. Just, I'm not going to say that I have a filter. I don't. But I've learned to kind of slow it down. We've got, just a minute, I'm going to shut the door because we have a Methodist church that plays a clarion. And they play music all the time. They at noon and at 6. And it's fine. It's really kind of neat during the Christmas season to hear them play Christmas carols. But when I'm doing my live stream, it's like, anyway. There has to be an understanding, at least by one big channel, that, yeah, they are soothing. This is nice. I mean, one of my favorite things is if you're Christian and well, I don't look again. What did Alfred say to Bruce in the Dark Knight? I know it's really the Christmas stuff is really, really nice. This is the song they're actually playing is one that I grew up with when they came out with the new songbook, and they're just after Vatican II's guitar mass, it was Okay, Demanjana, I'll see ya. You too. But anyway, where was I? Anyway, yeah, this song is not one of my favorites. I mean, I remember singing it, not liking it. I mean, we go to church now that plays pretty good traditional stuff. Sometimes some of the God crap shows up, but this is one of them. But it's always really funny when you're sitting here and you hear a Methodist church clarion playing Salve Regina. Yeah, you're right. You know, again, there are people out there, I think, on both sides that want to see the world burn. You know, I mean, that's just, and that's the truth. And I think there are quite a few people on the fringes of the fandom menace, and even inside the fandom menace, who are so consumed by hatred, they would rather have no Star Wars and no franchise than see it fixed. Well, you know, I agree with that one, General Katarn. And then on the other side, we have people who want to see the world burn, like Pablo. I mean, you can't tell me you're a Star Wars fan and you think what this shit is good. You can't. You're right, Daryl, and they can't make a buck, which is why they care now. Okay, this is all pragmatic. You gotta think with your head. Money. Money talks, bullshit walks. Get woke, go broke. And right now, Disney's paying for it. And I'm gonna tell you guys something. If COVID hadn't come in when it did, we would not be talking about this. Because this stuff was going very slowly. Okay? They could bury Lucasfilm's issues. You know, and now they can't. Well, the rise of Skywalker, you know, well, COVID, because it shut down the parks. And let me tell you something. Disney's business model has always been the movies are advertisements for the parks. And when the parks shut down, Disney's money stream just dried right up. And they started taking out loans. They started even taking out bonds. You could buy a bond in Disney and then it would come, you know, it would come, you know, mature in 40 years, which is what you do with that. And I find it very interesting that you could tell people, and there are people, oh, folk mass. Oh. You can tell people you gotta look at the finances, you gotta read between the lines. Stop worrying about what Pablo's doing and start thinking about what is Disney gonna do to get itself out of this mess. And if you're someone who can't understand oh God, oh God. Well, I think it's gonna be retconned anyway. Just because there's no, when I look at the way things are going, there's no way this ends with whatever that was. But you know, okay, I forgot what I was gonna say. Anyway, this shit's gotta end. And people have to take control of themselves. They have to learn a little respect. They have to you know what you do if you don't understand why someone disagrees with you and it's a rumor. But, you know, here's how you know there's something there. You're somebody, you get, hey, Bone. Rar. Oh, they cut him. They've cut him. They cut him, I think, last year. But anyway, instead of attacking the rumors, start thinking, why does he think this might be true? What has he said? First off, He says what I say. He says what Andre and Tom say. Take this all with a grain of salt, okay? It is a rumor. But when you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different sources saying the same thing, and Walt Disney World Pro saying similar stuff, and you hear Andre saying, I've heard similar stories from my sources, you gotta start to think maybe there's something to this. Again, how do you analyze all this? Look at Disney's financial situation. Look at what we know publicly. The Gina Carano fallout, the backlash against Kennedy, the Forbes article, the Variety article. I always do that. Dave Filoni's promotion. You know, you've got Cameron giving us a very intellectual insight into what is probably happening. And he has been proven right, by the way. Okay? Why can't people do that? Or is it because they're just not intellectually capable? And for some of these people, you know, the Jesuits were the ones behind Guitar Mass. Some of these people, you know, I don't think are capable of understanding. They don't operate in that intellectual frame. If they're not screaming and shouting outrage, they don't understand it. Okay, and also, if it bleeds, it leads. Yeah, I mean, you're right, John 42. And I am literally like, about all of this because I don't understand. You know, the lack of professionalism, and I know it was Friday night, and it was just a goofy thing that a bunch of guys go do. I mean, everybody always streams so goddamn late. And after this weekend and having heat stroke, and see my bruise? Yeah, it's from a 12 gauge shotgun. See that? See this? That's from the same shotgun. It beat the shit out of me. You know, things have to happen. They have to change. I don't know why anybody wouldn't at least entertain the thought and listen. Yeah, well, we went, old redneck, we went sporting clay shooting on Saturday, and it was 90 degrees, and I was like, oh. By the time we got done, it was hot. And when you shoot 100 rounds, even if target loads, number 8s, I get that concussion headache, and I get bruises, and it was so hot, I got, hey, Red October, I got heat stroke. I was not feeling well. And the last 2 nights I slept like a baby. I was so tired. But the day before we went to the Reading Air Show, and it was a lot of fun. We saw one of the only 2 B-29s still flying, Fifi. I've got video. You know, we saw the B-17. I've got pictures. I've got video of it flying overhead. You know, P-51. We saw guys, cosplayers, and reenactors dressed up as, well, American soldiers. They reenacted the Battle of Cherbourg, or one of the town, St. Mary Glace. No, the B-24 Witchcraft didn't show up. Mad. I wish it had. That was the plane my dad was a radio operator in. We have, you know, they did the Battle of, it was one of the towns that was liberated on D-Day. People dressed up like French resistance. We had guys dressed up, you know, British uniforms. The British showed, the Japanese showed, the Russian, the Bolsheviks, the Soviet army showed. Hilarious, guys dressed up like that. And the Germans showed up. And I gotta tell you this, when you see the pictures, you're gonna go, oh my God. There's nothing more disturbing than seeing someone dressed up in a black Waffen SS uniform. Okay. I know a little bit about that shit. This is what I studied when I was in college. Okay. The rise of Nazi Germany, German history between 1862 and 1945, which is very convoluted and very interesting, and American history. And I gotta tell you something, when you see guys dressed up like that, it's disturbing. When you see guys dressed up as Hermann Goering, Air Marshal Goering, and General Erhard Milch, his second in command, it kind of makes you want to vomit, okay? But because it's history, you got to accept it happened, okay? You got to accept, it's just, I think it's emotionally bothersome to me because my father was a veteran. My uncles, landed at Normandy on D-Day and liberated France, okay? So, well, Mad, it is tasteless, and yet when you think about it, you're right, Troy. When you think about it, you have to accept that these people were there, and there are guys out there who are willing to do it to show people who don't know anything about it that, anyway. Oh, Jedi Padawan, who cares who was it? Can you tell me? I want to know who that was. But anyway, Midnight's Edge is on, so I'm gonna rock. And before you leave, please hit the like button if you haven't subscribed. Subscribe. To Jeremy, Greg's, I'm sorry, but you got to do something about Ryan. You really, really do. Okay, what he did was wrong. You can say, Doomcock didn't handle it right, and I can see that, but again, when you attack the fans, you're no better than Pablo, Ryan, Chuck Wendig, and all these people. Okay, so you need to take control of this because this is hurting everybody. Okay, I wasn't gonna put this out there, but I am so JM. Just say the name. I don't know what those initials are. You can, you gotta understand that you can't do that to people. You can't do that to people. All right. For the good of the fandom, you gotta stop this guy. Anyway, and tell him, you need to quit. You need to be quiet. Or you need to apologize and apologize to the fans. Anyway, this is Steph signing out. I'll see you around the galaxy.